From the Joy News Center. This is News at 8.
Time bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. Coming up, work begins on FPSO to be used in Ghana's second oil field. Former GNPC chief executive testifies before Judgment Debt Commission on sold drill ship saga. Residents of Bautiano demonstrate against real estate developer in land dispute. Confusion in Cape Coast as some school heads kick against automatic admission of students allocated by computerized placement system. And National Road Safety Commission rolls out road safety campaign to ensure a reduction in accidents this Christmas. We also have business, showbiz, sport and international news all coming up. Stay tuned.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
In our very first story, work has begun on the Centennial J, the vessel to be converted into an FPSO for Ghana's second oil field, the Trinidad, Enyira and Ntom or 10 field. The vessel, which arrived at the Jurong shipyard in Singapore, will undergo a similar fabrication process as the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah currently in operation at the Jubilee field.
A corporate video made available to Joy News shows the Sentinel J being towed by tugboats into the Jurong shipyard, where over the next 2 years it will undergo the conversion process. Officials tell Joy News the outcome will be a facility similar in size to the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah at a length of about 340 meters and a width of 56 meters. Its production capacity is, however, 80,000 barrels a day, 40,000 barrels less than the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah. The vessel is expected in Ghana in the last quarter of 2015 to be connected to the reservoir. It will require the drilling and completion of up to 24 development wells, which will be connected through subsea infrastructure to the FPSO. Government formally approved the plan of development for the 10 field in May this year, paving the way for Tullow and its partners to proceed with the development of the discoveries.
A former chief executive of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, under whose tenure the company's drill ship was sold to settle a $19.5 million judgment debt owed the Societe Generale Bank, has denied claims that a London court ordered the payment. Imosofori says though a court process was underway in London on the matter, the court never ordered such a payment as far as he is concerned. The former chief executive was testifying at the Judgment Debt Commission on the GNPC drill ship saga.
Oforikwao noted that because there was no board in place at the time of the transaction, he signed a power of attorney to enable the former Deputy Energy Minister, K.T. Hammond, who was already in London, to sell the ship.
Currently, as a result of the hedging, there was an indebtedness between GNPC was indebted to Societe Generale to the tune of 40 million cedis, with 7 million in interest and costs. So a total of $47 million. The case was in court. Societe Generale had sued GNPC in court on this matter.
But where was this court? Was it in Ghana?
In London.
London.
And at the same time that the case was running in the courts, they were also trying to settle outside court. So eventually the rig had to be sold to pay off the indebtedness of GNPC. And there was a law firm in London that was handling this. But before
what was the name of this law firm?
Bindman and Bindman. Yeah, they were handling it. But before I came in, apparently the Aegis department decided to take over. And eventually, the Deputy Minister of Energy at the time, Mr. K.T. Hammond, was sent to London to try and settle this matter because there had been a deadlock between GNPC and Societe Generale Societe Generale apparently were asking for, at that time, $24 million. GMPC was at $12 million. So there was a stalemate while the case was still in court. So eventually, the deputy minister was asked to go to London and try to settle it. And that was when it was after the agreement, what apparently was a compromised settlement. It was as a result of this compromised settlement that it was decided that the drill ship should be sold to pay off the debt.
According to him, prior to that, he was not aware of any deal but was only called to Accra by the then Attorney General and directed to append his signature to an already prepared power of attorney.
At the time of this matter, there was no board. There was no active board of GMPC, and so the ministry was exercising oversight responsibility for the corporation. But in terms of decisions, I had to go to the ministry because there was no board. Eventually, when the rig had to be sold, we had to give the power of attorney because the rig belonged to GMPC, and we had all the documents relating to its ownership. And so if there was a transfer of ownership, GMPC had to do that. So we had to ultimately we had to do the power of attorney for the deputy minister to be able to sell it. No. Well, as far as I know, as far as I can remember, apparently he was sent by the president to go and try to and settle this matter. I have never seen any judgment on that.
This, the sole commissioner, Justice Yao Appel, suggested was interference by government in the affairs of the GNPC.
The board of directors shall, subject to the provisions of this law, have general control of the management, property, business, and funds of the corporation, and any other affairs and concerns thereof. There are a lot of authorities. Then delegation of functions of the board of directors to managing director. The board of directors may delegate any of these functions under the law to the managing director of the corporation. The managing director shall be responsible to the board for the due execution of any functions delegated to him under subsection 1 of this section. So at the time you gave power of attorney to K.T. Hammond to sell the property, there was no board. So no board delegated any such powers to you to have the company's property, the corporation's property disposed of.
Oforikwa also told the commission the GMPC was not briefed about the transaction after the sale, noting that he had to officially write to the then substantive minister, who then told him that $19.5 million of the proceeds was used to offset GMPC's debt. $1 million was used to pay legal fees and $3.5 million paid into government's coffers.
When he first came back, I asked him what had happened, and partly in jest, he said, you didn't send me anywhere. I was sent by the president, and so I have reported to the president. So after a while, I decided to write officially because it was a GMPC vessel, and there were things, there were debts all around it. So we wanted to make sure that those debts had been settled. And so I wrote officially in July, I remember, around July. And eventually, it was somewhere in October that the minister wrote back to say that, yes, the rig was sold for $24 million. The indebtedness was $19.5 million. And there was some legal fees and other minor, in fact, there were expatriate employees and Ghanaian employees on the vessel. They were all paid. And so altogether, that came to $1 million. And $3.5 million, the remaining $3.5 million was paid into state chest through the Ministry of Finance, Accountant General's Department, up to Bank of Ghana.
The commission is expected to sit again over the drill ship saga and the whereabouts of the $3.5 million paid into government's account on the 28th of October.
The people of Bautiano have staged a demonstration against a real estate developer they say is threatening to demolish some homes in the town over a land dispute. According to the families, the developer Fraka Estates is laying claim to a lot more land than was legitimately sold to him. The demonstration nearly turned sour following a confrontation with the police, whom they accused of siding with the developer to harass them. Joy News reporter Emmanuel Ante was at the scene and brings us this report.
Almost all the town's residents, with the exception of the very frail, poured out onto the streets, clad in red, to express their anger. The leaders and elders of all the families in Bautiano who led the demonstration alleged Frank Boa, the estate developer, has connived with the police and some land guards to terrorize the people. According to the town spokesperson, they mobilized after they had information that the developer was going to lead a demolition exercise of homes he says had been built on his land. Matters almost came to a head when the war-chanting protesters met the chief executive of the real estate firm in the company of the police. The head of the police unit explained they were in town in the interest of the people.
We are police officers. We are there for everybody. So we need to find out what is happening. That's why I say I want to talk to the leader and see the reason why we have been encountered on the way. We have been sent by the regional commander. So I will be very happy if all of us can just move straight to the office and meet and deal the situation so that you solve your differences there.
We don't have time to follow you right now. So if your boss himself can organize a day and then come and see us at Bautiano, in front of the palace, we will brief him everything concerning the land of Bautiano.
Some of the townsfolk narrated their ordeals at the hands of the land guards they said were working for the real estate developer.
We were farming, that was 2007. I'm one of the 7 that we were arrested. We are in farm. When the police, a whole lot of police, with 3 cars, pick up, they come arrested in our farm. They beat us mercilessly and then took us to this police headquarters. That is railways side. We were there for some days. They took us to court. They fined us. We were asking what we have done. No, nobody can tell us what we have done. Only we should vacate from the land. We were 7. We were beaten. One of us lost his ear. He can't, whatever I do, it's under treatment now. Since 2007 up to now.
Some individuals who have acquired property in the area also say they are constantly subjected to harassment.
I've been here over 30 years. I know Frank was given a land, 262 at the top. But from that top to the sea, those lands were given to us by the citizens of the community. That's Abushia. And nobody is harassing us. But now, we found out that Frankai team will connect with some police. They will come and then harass people. They will ask them to pay $140 million, that's $7,000. And if you don't pay, they will stop you from building. So look at the whole area. No one is being building. No one is building. And some people are even afraid to come to the land to build.
The police has directed the residents to lodge a formal complaint with the police. Emmanuel Ante, reporting from Bautiano in Accra for Joy News.
Our attempts to reach the real estate developer in question have been unsuccessful. In other news, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association has called off its nationwide strike after reaching an agreement on Tuesday to dialogue with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the Ministry of Employment. Per the agreement, the two institutions have until November 14 to resolve all issues with regards to the top-up premiums of CLOSAG members to forestall another strike action.
Well, it was the intervention of the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, that is Honorable Ni Ama Ashite, who prompted an emergency national tripartite committee to sit on this issue. And we started on Monday and we ended up yesterday. And luckily, an MOU has been signed by both parties, that is CLOSAG and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. And they are to work hand in hand with the Civil Service Council and the Local Government Service Council. So through their discussions, the two parties are to meet with these two bodies too, so that by 15th of November, whatever comes out of the deliberations, they put it across. So that made us to call off the strike action. Our employer, that is government, has come in at least we have gotten the desired thing. Because first we were at the Labour Commission and Fair Wages pulled out, and which was related to the employment and labour relations. They didn't call us back. With this strike action, that prompted them to come in. So definitely we've gotten the desired result.
CLOSAG on October 14 embarked on a nationwide strike to press home their demand for top-up premiums under the single spine salary structure. The strike action by the association saw some government businesses, including the Birth and Death Registry and the Registrars General's Department, shutting down completely during the period.
Some heads of especially endowed schools in the Central Regional Capital, Cape Coast, say they cannot admit students simply because they have been allocated to their schools by the computerized placement system of the Ghana Education Service. Parents and guardians of school leavers who are stranded as a result are having to go around in search of admissions for their wards. Though the Education Ministry recently warned school heads against rejecting students allocated to them, the headmasters have advanced a number of reasons, such as the school's own standards and requests for protocol admissions. They say do not allow them to admit all the students allocated to them.
It is that time of the year when parents and guardians of JHS leavers try to get their wards admission in the various senior high schools so they can further their education. Ideally, the scores of parents who have trooped to Cape Coast to confirm their wards admissions should not have a problem because of the computerized school placement system, which automatically places JHS leavers in the schools. Deputy Minister of Education Alex Cheme only recently sounded a warning to difficult headmasters. But the heads of especially the well-endowed schools say they can no longer accept automatic placement from the computerized program. The headmaster of Infantipim School, Kwame Meza Eja, explains the CSSPS has given the school more students than the places available, adding the school standard risk being compromised.
The school will have to do its selection. In the sense we have standards. I don't think the standard in Infantipim could be compared to Telekobukazo Senior High standard. They are two different things. So they can do their placement. But if the placement too has been done according to the number that we requested for, we wouldn't have been experiencing these problems. What is even more disturbing is that you get protocol lists from so many quarters. Can you say that you are going to reject everything, knowing very well that they are the same people or establishment that you go for help whenever you are in need of?
The parents whose wards have been affected by the refusal of headmasters to admit them have been expressing their frustrations. Though they would not want to speak on camera, they say the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service would have to intervene if the CSSPS placements are no longer automatic. The headmaster of Infantipim School is, however, urging the parents to exercise some restraint over the matter.
So when these things happen, if you don't take care, you bloat the numbers and to create this many problems for yourself, and then so many and other things. So you are being guided by certain principles and conditions in the school to help. If Infantipim can take 3,000 students, why not? But the whole time we cannot take it. So when we are considering this thing, it cannot be that it is meant for very excellent students throughout. No, we reserve some for the catchment area people and then other people.
Richard Kujunyako filed this report from the Central Region.
We have more news coming after the break. Stay tuned. A road safety campaign by the National Road Safety Commission to ensure an accident-free Christmas season is underway. Officials indicate they have already started visiting the various transport terminals to educate drivers on road safety regulations. They have meanwhile appealed to the various transport managers and owners to take the campaign further to save lives this Christmas.
The National Road Safety Commission has an action plan to reduce road crashes in the country by 50% by the year 2020. But at the current rate, officials are worried they are likely to miss the target.
Even one life lost, we do not think is appreciable. However, I must say that despite the fact that there have been increase in the number of vehicles on our roads, which we know is around about 10% each year, we have been able to stabilize at least some of the road deaths on our roads. So I think as of now, there's a lot to be done as a nation to help reduce the deaths on our roads. So I'm not happy with the numbers that we are recording.
It is estimated that nearly 2,000 lives are lost every year on the roads as a result of motor accidents, with many of them attributed to careless driving, worn-out tires, tiredness and inadequate maintenance of vehicles. This has informed the intensification of this year's road safety campaign, and this time officials say they are taking the message to the doorsteps of the drivers.
The National Road Safety Commission, the DVLA and the police came together to form a task force or to strengthen the task force that we have. So we started with a lorry station trying to engage the passengers that they have a right to protect their own lives. So we are doing all we can. We've intensified our education from now to Christmas and even beyond Christmas.
At a review of the National Road Safety Action Plan in Accra, stakeholders raised concerns about implementation and strict enforcement of laws to ensure that target sets are achieved.
There must be some strict enforcement. I think that there's an improvement now. They are going to say that there will be on-the-spot fine. I believe that the spot fine should be low. Now I hear that it's averaging about 60 Ghana cedis, and then you'll be given a cheat and you have to go and pay it. I probably will say that it should have been about half of that. The lower it is, the more good people are likely to pay it at the right source. And if it's higher, people are likely to negotiate. We are Ghanaians and we know what happens. If you are going to pay 60 and you can get away with 10, that is, 1/6. So that may be looked at.
The National Road Safety Commission's action strategy was formed within the framework of the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety from 2011 to 2020, and the target is to reduce road traffic carnage by 50%.
As part of efforts to cater for its soaring subscriber numbers, MultiTV is taking about 1,500 new Digibox installers through training. The participants from across the country were taken through new trends in the technology, as well as how to manage their clients as entrepreneurs. On the final day of the Accra training session, officials explained the high demand on the market and the quest to give customers value for money informed the annual training sessions.
The training sessions were conducted in more than 10 cities and towns across the country, including Tamale, Wa, Cape Coast, Techimai, Sunyai, Seshi, Kofodia, and Obuasi. The team will next stop in Ho, Hohoi, and Keta. The Accra session attracted 465 participants. Business Development Manager with the Multimedia Group, Charles Van Dyke, spoke about channel audience management as far as appropriate programming is concerned and how they could optimize their newly acquired skill as entrepreneurs. Distribution Coordinator William Addison further explained the purpose of the training and urged those interested not to miss out on the Volta region sessions.
Everywhere that you go, we have people who are watching us, and it's becoming difficult. People are keeping on complaining that they want to get the decoder, but their place is far. So we are training more people to be able to reach out to the market because the demand is great. As an installer, we always attach them to dealers in their various localities so that they can go and install multi-TV there. So they are getting financial benefit. Two, they get first-hand information from multi-TV, like an upgrade. Anything that is coming on multi-TV, we send them mail, we communicate with them, all our information, they get it. Then we are also encouraging customers to only deal with only our accredited installers. And if you don't have multi-TV decoder or you are not watching multi-TV, then you are missing a lot and you need to get one.
Paul and Philip are trainees. They say the sessions opens up a work of opportunities for them and their colleagues.
at my workplace, people come and they ask me, do you deal in multi-TV digiboxes? And I say no. So they've been calling. So I decided to partake in this training so that I can help those who call on me so that I can provide services to them.
You think it's worth the money you pay to get into it?
Sure.
As our area, every day they came onto me to come and fix them multi-TV to them, but I didn't know how to fix it. Now I know what is going on. I know the way I can fix to them.
Some females who also took advantage of the opportunity urged other women to also participate.
I didn't even know women are not really taking part, but I took that challenge that I want to do it to attach to my career. I know because I've taken the initiative with all effort what men can do. The saying say the women can do it better.
Even when I was pregnant, I said I would have done it. If I had not given birth earlier, I would have gone for the training. People were laughing at me, but I said I would. Ladies like me should be encouraged to take part in things like such, because I'm a nursing mother in a cave. So if you are not a nursing mother, you can do much better in it.
The new digibox installers will receive identity cards and certificates of training.
Hello there, I'm Abigail Adomakwenchi here to bring you the latest in business. Now, government is planning to establish a 10 million Ghana cedi Youth Enterprise Fund by the first quarter of next year to support youth entrepreneurs while creating job opportunities. At a stakeholders forum in Accra, Minister of State in charge of financial and allied institutions, Fifi Kwete, called on the youth to come up with viable and innovative business ideas to make the fund beneficial to them and the economy at large.
Government, in its quest to do away with the current challenge of youth unemployment, expressed its commitment earlier this year to put in place some structures in support of startups as well as youth entrepreneurs. One such is the Youth Jobs and Enterprise Development Fund, now Youth Enterprise Fund, which is to provide financing such as equity, debt, grants and loan guarantees to youth-owned enterprises. Stakeholders of the fund met in Accra to explore what the fund means for Ghanaian startups, the best innovative ways to make it work, and to review its concept paper. Fund managers explain, unlike other funds, the Youth Enterprise Fund will be managed efficiently and those assessing it will be made accountable.
For this fund, whatever monies you take would be registered with what we call the credit reference bureaus. That provision has been made for. For those of you who don't know what a credit reference bureau is, today if you go to the bank to take a loan, every bank is mandated by Bank of Ghana to register that loan with a credit reference bureau. So every bank knows if you don't pay, every bank in Ghana would know. So if you get the money and you misuse it, well, you are only endangering your own borrowing capacity in future.
Access to credit remains challenging for a number of small businesses, and for Kwabna Danso, a younger entrepreneur into bamboo bicycle production, the fund could not have come at a better time.
It's a great opportunity for young entrepreneurs like myself to also leverage and then be able to expand the scope of our operations. Initially, we talk in this country about not getting funds to implement our ideas, to not getting funds, but I think this fund is also blocked that problem so that people don't have the opportunity to complain. Now the fund is coming into existence. It's up to you to also do your best to also be able to access the fund.
Government, on the other hand, remains committed to the sustainability of the fund, but is worried about the lacking entrepreneurial culture.
I've always said, many times people claim the lack of finance is the reason why people are not able to succeed, especially private sector. I've always said it's not the truth. Lack of finance has not been a major bottleneck. The real bottleneck has been lack of a viable, creative idea driven by a passionate person who wants to see it to an end. And if you young people can accept that, then we are on a journey. Because I can tell you that a time will come where we can create far more funds But to the extent that we have young people who continue having the mentality of their fathers and grandfathers, which is a dependent mentality. Dependent mentality, which simply feed me, do it for me. If that continues, this country, this continent is going nowhere.
It's not one of those things that is going to be a policy on paper. I am tired. In Ghana, we have policy on everything. We have solved all our problems on paper. You come to the ministries, all the ministries, they have policy on every single thing you can talk about. And they are still doing capacity building, workshops, review, sensitization. I am tired. So we mean business, we are action oriented, and we want this thing to move. And there's no other person who can drive this than Fifi from the office of the president. And he has my full 100% support. And woe unto anyone who stands in our way because of their parochial and selfish interests. We will crush them.
The 10 million cedi fund will meanwhile receive contributions from the Consolidated Fund, EDIF, and other development partners such as GIZ. Now, producer price inflation increased to 5.4% in September from 4.7% the previous month. The manufacturing sector saw the highest year-on-year rise in the PPI of 12.6%.
For the manufacturing sector, the monthly change was 2.3%, whilst the year-on-year change was 12.6%. The rate for September 2013 was 1.8 percentage points higher than that for August 2013. And we had the manufacturing subsector recording the highest year-on-year producer inflation rate of 12.6%.
Producer price inflation in the mining and quarrying subsector, according to the chief statistician, decreased by 2.8 percentage points over the August 2013 figure.
If we take the mining and quarrying sector, the producer inflation rate decreased by 2.8 percentage points relative to the rate recorded in August 2013, which was minus 14.1%. Take the mining and quarrying subsector, the monthly change is 2.1%, while on the year-on-year, there was a decrease of 16.9%.
He further added that the petroleum subsector recorded an increase as a result of an upward adjustment in the prices of petroleum products.
From September 2012 to December 2012, there was some stability in the inflation level at 16.7%. This dropped sharply in January 2013 to less than 0%. Again, it stabilized up to February 2013 and then shot up again in March 2013. Then between March 2013 and May 2013, it dropped slightly. And then in June, it moved up again, then dropped slightly in July 2013, and then increased again till hitting 33.6% in September 2013.
The Producer Price Index (PPI) measures the average change over time in the prices received by domestic producers for the production of goods and services.
And that'll be all for business. I'm Abigail Adumakwenchi.
Sports. Right, time to check out news making rounds in the world of sports. Now, Ghana boxing promoter and matchmaker Solomon Otulate will be inactive for the next 4 years after being found guilty of fixing an international bout between Ghana's Frank Doji and Algerian Nasreddine Daho. The disciplinary committee of the Ghana Boxing Authority arrived at the verdict.
Boxing Authority has banned promoter and matchmaker Solomon Otulate for a period of 4 years after being found guilty of fixing an international bout between Ghana's Frank Doji and Algerian Nasreddine Daho. The disciplinary committee of the authority investigated the strange circumstances leading to the corner of Doji throwing in the towel when their boxer had knocked down his Algerian opponent. Also punished were Joseph Kwefiu and Michael Patterson, who were each handed 2-year bans for their role in prevailing upon the young boxer to compromise himself and the sport. Doji escaped with a reprimand for his role in the farce. His decision not to throw the fight after an initial approach meant he could not be held liable for the actions of his corner, though the committee criticized him for not reporting the conspiracy to the Ghana Boxing Authority. A copy of report on the investigations will be forwarded to the WBC Youth Championship Committee for necessary action to be taken against the Algerian boxer and his managers at the forthcoming WBC convention scheduled for Bangkok, Thailand.
Let's get into the arena of soccer, really. There's a lot to talk about there, and Ghana has advanced to the second round of the Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers after Guinea-Bissau withdrew from the competition. The Black Princesses were scheduled to host the first leg of the qualifier for the tournament in Accra on Friday, but the Guinea-Bissau Football Association has written to confirm their withdrawal from the tie. Now time to talk about the Ghana Premier League. It was match day 8. Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak returned to winning ways really on that match day of the Premier League, but league debutants Inter Allies stole the headlines after handing Bichem United a 3-0 shock defeat at the Timber Park. So we can now quickly look at the results and get to it in it. We'll first of all start with what we have there in the very first result on there. We have it there. Hearts of Oak currently they managed to beat Liberty Professionals by 2-0. Eric Kumi getting a goal, as well as Robbie Nyani. Accra Hearts of Oak returning to winning ways over there. New Edubiase also beat Hearts Lions by 2-0 out there. Kumasi Asante Kotoko beat Brecum Chelsea by 2-1. And there you had Abdul Aziz getting the goal, as well as Yaya Mohammed. Inter Allies, they produced a shock of the match day because they beat Bichem United by 3-0. Up to this point, they had lost as much as 7 games. So it's really coming in as good news for Coach Herbert Addo, who just took over for Inter Allies. Midyama FC beat Amadeus Professionals by 1-0, going strong there. Now, Botswana Dwarfs also have a bit of relief and can breathe a little easier because they had lost 3 consecutive games on the row. They managed to beat Ken Faisal by 1-0 over there. Now, while All Stars beat Hazakis by 1-0 as well. And a game where there was a lot of drama. Adriana Stars drew 1-1 with a shanty goal. Apparently, the fans were looking for the head of the man. Their coach Jay's opponent. It was not very easy for the man as well, but they picked out that particular draw in there. We can now look at the table very quickly and find out what's happening there. Kumasi Asante Kotoko have 21 points and currently top of the table. Accra Hearts of Oak are keeping up the pressure and they have 19 points. Ash Gold, Hearts Lions, Bichem United, Liberty Professionals, Midyama SC and Medallas Professionals follow in that order. So it's going very, very well as planned. We can look at the last part of the table to just confirm what is happening. Inter Allies, yes, they got the first win, but really it's not the end of their troubles. They certainly have to do some more. It's only the first win of the season. Faisal right there, last but one. We also have Hazakis. Adriana Stars in the 9th position. You wonder why the fans are not too excited about all of this happening right here. So we'll be keeping tabs on exactly what happens in the Ghana Premier League, looking ahead to that. So now we can talk about the UEFA Champions League and match day 3, the second batch of the results. The biggest game for tonight really was that game between Juventus and Real Madrid. How did it turn out? Cristiano Ronaldo ensuring that he got the 2 goals for Real Madrid to ensure they won the particular game. But how about Manchester United? They call it the team under construction. The construction work probably went well tonight, and they managed to beat Real Sociedad by 1-0. The details now right here. Bayer Leverkusen beat Shakhtar Donetsk by 4-0 in Group A. Manchester United beat Real Sociedad by 1-0. It was an own goal, but Rooney did well to get that own goal running. And then in Group B, Galatasaray beat FC Copenhagen by 3-1. Didier Drogba getting another goal, and this one going very strong out there as well. And Real Madrid beat Juventus by 2-1. Llorente got an important, maybe consolation goal, but Cristiano Ronaldo was just too strong in that one. Got the 2 goals for Real Madrid to ensure they went on. How about Group C? Anderlecht lost to Paris Saint-Germain by 5-0. Zlatan Ibrahimovic getting 4 goals of the 5. So just gives you an idea what will happen in that European playoff when Portugal come up against Sweden, isn't it? Now Benfica also drew 1-1 with Olympiacos, and in the Group D, Manchester City beat CSKA Moscow by 2-1. This game was played early on in the day because of the difference in the time. And the very final game as well, Bayern Munich beating Victoria Plens by 5-0. They are defending champions and are going really strong right there. So that'll be all for sports tonight. My name is George Adi Jr. Do have a good evening. Israel will join us with international news.
Sports was brought to you in association with.
Now, Ghana has over the years seen quite a few talented rappers entering the music industry. Once in a while, though, there comes along one of a different kind, such as Gemini, a banking and finance graduate who claims to be the fastest rapper in Ghana.
Yeah, I placed you above because you don't want to love, give you my trust, and never traded what I get as a plus, and never made it a fuzz, and never rated you faded the buzz.
Actually, I don't claim that. You know, I'm just blessed and fortunate that everybody else thinks I'm the fastest, and so yeah, that's it. I mean, if you think you can step up, let's do it.
Well, it appears he is faster than Fanny Face, who is an actor, comedian turned musician.
Every day I rap like nobody's business. I'm serious, I'm hot. I feel like thunder.
Okay, I'll give it to Gemini, if you ask me. Now, it's an undisputed fact that many Nollywood actors have made Ghana their second home or their preferred holiday destination. One of them, Hank Sanuku, has even gone a step further by relocating to Ghana. Showbiz caught up with him for a chat when he visited the studios of our sister station, Adom FM.
Ghanaian movies are good. I love Ghanaian movies. Got lots of humor. It makes me laugh a lot. It takes away all the stresses of me. And I think they're going to get places. It's good. I like the pace in which they're rocking the boat. Most times is praying, actually. I love praying a lot, you know, and that's the only way I feel comfortable and confident that I'm under the shadow of the Almighty, where nothing can harm me.
That'll be all for Showbiz.
Showbiz.